You are.
Got your name on it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's just, I didn't know it said here. That's what I'm asking. It's a scary proposition here.
Yes, sir. Chairman, we have Director Spammer is on by conference, telephone
Okay.
conference. So you have quorum.
Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. We got the
Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father God, we commit this meeting into your hands. Help us to find long-lasting solutions to the problems we are facing. We know that even though things may be impossible on our side, all things are possible with you. In Jesus' name, we believe and pray. Amen.
Amen. Go to workshop.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Directors, the first item on your workshop is a review of the quarterly investment report for the period ending June 30th, 2021. In your packet is the investment report. You can see that in our local government pool, we have approximately 14.1 million, and in government securities, we have approximately 1.4 million for a total of $15.5 million. The yields at this point, the investment earnings on the governmental pool is $2,667, and on the government securities is $123 for a total interest earning of $2,790. So you can see that our weighted average yield in local government pool is 0.0732%, and on the government securities is 0.01%. So we're virtually receiving nothing for our investments. So be happy to answer any questions.
Any other questions? Now let's go proceed to.
Hello?
Yes, sir, Mr. Spammer. Can you hear us, Mr. Spammer?
Hello?
Hello. Okay.
Mr. Director Spammer, can you hear us? You give us a second, Chairman. We'll check on the. Director Spammer, can you hear us? Director Spammer, can you hear us? Director Spammer,
Hello?
Director Spammer, can you hear us now?
I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you perfectly.
Yes, sir. Okay, we can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
Any public comment today?
No, sir, we do not have any public comment.
Let's go over the reports.
Yes, sir. The first item under reports is item 1A, a report on program manager activity for the 365 Tollway project and IBTC environmental clearance document. Eric Davila will give you a brief report.
Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and slide over to page 6 of the report. So our overarching schedule for the 365 tollway showed that we should be receiving the release to advertise late this week. We're flagging that down, and it seems like it's either late this week or sometime next week, all of which basically pushes us into an early August time period where we begin the bid period. All in all, the schedule shifts by about a week. On the overall, already basically ran through all the different traps and time that we need for certain coordination to take place in between. And so we'll have a revised schedule here very shortly once we pin down when we receive the release to advertise, because that essentially is the first domino that has to fall for everything else to follow.
So we call text on that.
We have,
And
And so I know that we have, we're finalizing a few items that they had requested of us by tomorrow morning. And essentially, they're flagging down certain agreements that have to get signed. The financial assistance agreement and the project development agreement were already partially executed by the RMA. Essentially, those have to be finally executed by TxDOT before they can release the release to advertise letter.
So where are we at? Did we talk to them today as far as TxDOT?
Yes, Chairman, we have talked to them today and they have both documents. And so the person that needs to execute it is the executive director, Mark Williams. And that's who we're waiting for them to sign them. So I did forward that information to the two individuals that you asked me to. So, yes, sir.
All in all, we still seem to avoid the holiday pitfall there in November. So, we'll still meet rating agencies, it seems like, before the major holiday rush. And that was the item we were trying to avoid falling into the November Thanksgiving season. So it looks like we just barely avoided. Any questions on 365? Moving on to IBTC, we've had a meeting with TxDOT to discuss some of the rail coordination that has been very, very important to a lot of the project development here in the area. Suffice to say, railroads are kind of like irrigation districts. They kind of predate a lot of us, a lot of local governments. And so the coordination there is key. So we got some final comments that we're going to work into the schematic. Nothing that materially changes anything. So once we update the schematic and get it submitted late this week, essentially we have the final schematic. We already have all the documents approved. And we're hoping that we get a pretty quick turnaround review from them so that we can get our public hearing date set so we can finalize the environmental. We're still anticipating early fall. And so we're pushing as fast as we can with the GEC HDR to get that submitted and route it through TxDOT. Any questions on the IBTC?
How many sets of tracks do we have to cross?
It's just one set of tracks on Business 83. And so it's one bridge. And so that makes the coordination a little easier. But nonetheless, it's a schedule that takes about 3 years, 1 year to get an agreement for essentially to get on their dance card. You get on their review schedule. That takes about a year. And so we're starting that as soon as we get environmental clearance and updating our schedule accordingly. And then for them to receive a design package, like a 30% PSNE design package, takes them anywhere between 1.5 years to 2 to finalize it. So we're trying to get that coordination going now. So as we do the overall design for the project, it tracks with that overall schedule. And so by the time we're done designing it, we have railroad approvals and we have everything we need to go to letting. So nothing at this point right now that indicates that we would run into any issues with trying to push the construction as quickly as we can if and when we get construction dollars.
How many agencies do you have to go through for the railroad tracks?
So it's Union Pacific Railroad. Valley Switching Company is the local company. And then it's essentially an intermediary, a design firm out of North Texas that does their review. So it's their consultant. Once you engage the consultant, you're essentially on their dance card. You exist to them as a project. They coordinate with you. You pay for the reviews. You do basically as they ask you to do. The requirements are laid out in black and white. They're very easy to follow directives. And so we've taken that input and put it into the schematic so we avoid any problems with them when the time comes to submit our final design packet.
Do they have any discretion to determine yes or no? Or is it just a matter of complying with their criteria?
By and large, complying with the criteria, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people want, certain concessions. Well, I want to be able to put a footing, in your right of way. They're very clear. Stay out of our right of way, because the right of way itself is already whittled down as much as they can have it. And when the railroad expands and runs maintenance vehicles or construction vehicles, they need a certain kind of construction envelope that's already taken into account in their right of way. So essentially, their instructions are clear to stay out of their airspace, so to speak. And we have the basically a 23-foot 4-inch clearance that we have to meet from the top of track. We got all that worked in, and so it shouldn't be an issue.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions?
Environmental clearance, where are we in the process?
Once they approve the schematic, we could take that to the public with the document. The document so far hasn't changed at all.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for the schematic. The design team at TxDOT will tell the environmental team schematic's good, and we take the document with the schematic to the public one last time and push for clearance. Okay. Thank you.
Chairman, Directors, the next item on your agenda is item 1B, report on the 365 tollway project financing activities. Richard Ramirez is here to give the board a report.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Directors. So Eric basically stole my thunder in terms of the schedule. We've been working on putting that together and finalizing with the kickstart date for the date is getting the TxDOT approval to advertise. So until we get that, we can't really set. But I have been in touch with rating agencies, and so we have a window around mid-October to be able to go to the rating agencies once the board approves the contract. So all of that to say is that we just need TxDOT to get their approval. We'll be set to go. We'll start having working group meetings. We kind of have those outlined, but again, those are going to shift by about a week or so. In terms of the market, bond market is doing really well this month. Rates are down compared to when I spoke to you last month. So things are looking really good from a financing standpoint. There's a big FOMC meeting tomorrow. We don't expect that they'll do much with rates, given I think the yin yang here is that the inflation, and so it's causing pressure on rates. But then now that you have the Delta variant, people are a little bit more concerned about shutdowns. So no telling in terms of what FOMC will do tomorrow, but we don't expect a whole lot of change. And even if they do, there is pressure on rates. I've been in touch with our desk, and between now and December, we don't see the rates are going to move a whole lot, and even beyond. But at least for our time horizon, we feel like we're okay. I'm happy to answer any other questions. Good. Okay. Thank you.
Chairman, Directors, the next item on your agenda is a consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Hey, get a motion on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Go to item number 3A, resolution 2021-29, approval of one-year extension to the professional service agreement with Hilltop Securities.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Directors, this is a one-year extension with Hilltop Securities. They're our financial advisor on the project. Their local representative is Richard Ramirez. They were initially, their last extension was in December of 2020, December 15, 2020, 6-month extension. Now that we're finally going to advertise the project in the next week or so, staff is recommending that we extend their contract for one additional year to get us through the rating and the financing of the project. Staff recommends approval of 1-year extension.
How long have they been with us?
They have been with us since May of 2009. Yeah, and we've
12 years?
yes, sir, 12 years.
Tell us a little bit about what social responsibilities have you done here for the valley since you're not from here? You and I have talked about it several years.
Yeah, you actually asked him the same question 6 months ago. So come on, Richard.
Director Cantu, I cannot sit here and tell you all of, I put a little booklet together and I sent it to Chairman Deanda. Recollect, we sponsor a lot of activities, some through the bank, some through our Hilltop Securities. I know we provide several classes for
Who's the bank? Here?
Plains Capital Bank.
Who?
Plains Capital Bank. So through the bank, we provide, I know that
Can you
we're,
think any off the top of your head?
the,
You and I've been talking about it for 12 years.
I yeah, caught me a little bit off guard. No, I can't
Off
think
guard,
of
you should know off the top of your
You
head.
asked the same question
Sorry.
6 months ago. You should be on guard by
That's been
now.
12 years.
You should be on guard by now.
No, I can't remember the acronyms.
We believe in helping people who help us, and that's for me. So let's talk to the bank and talk to Hilltop to see what you can
Yeah.
do and get with Chairman down on what nonprofits here,
Yeah,
because we pay you guys good money and we well deserved. I'm not questioning that.
I need to give back.
Yeah, when I looked at it, I was a little bit surprised. It was, we're due more than I thought we did.
Not enough.
Well, I understand.
You're never gonna win that one, Richard.
So
Facts.
I
Bring us,
I apologize, but I will send it to the chairman.
we're gonna remember, 1
No.
year extension.
I promise.
Right, the problem's
Give you my
right.
word.
I might not be allowed to stick around.
Okay,
Thank you.
no other discussion. I entertain a motion for approval of resolution
moved.
2021. Got a motion from Alonso, a second from Zeke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution number 2021-30, award of the contract for the purchase of emergency power generator for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Administrative Facility.
Yeah, Chairman and Directors, as part of the budgetary process, the adopted budget this year includes monies to install an emergency generator. We've had two significant events in the last 12 months that have shut down the operations at the authority. One was Hurricane Hannah, and so we were displaced for several days because we had no power. The downtown area here in FAR lost power, so we had to shut down operations. And the other one was the infamous Valentine's Day freeze, and we were also shut down for about a week because we lost local power here in the area, and so it impacted our operation. Employees had to be sent home.
Excuse me, but you're talking for the office?
For the office, for the operation for the authority, for our office.
Yes, sir.
And so this is to install an emergency generator to provide backup power for continuity of operations. This is a budgeted item that the board did approve as part of the budget process. We're recommending award to Waukesha Pierce for a generator to basically power the entire 130 kW, excuse me, generator to power the entire building in the amount of $47,543.
What's the size of the building?
Our building is 7,300 square feet,
Is it for short term or long term?
long term. This one
What
will,
kind of fuel does it take?
natural gas.
You're gonna hook up?
Yes,
Great.
we have a gas line in the alley, and that's where we're planning on
Good.
installing, so it's a couple feet away. Yeah. So staff recommends award to Waukesha Pierce in the amount of $47,543 using buy board contract number, let me see, I believe it's on the agenda, but we're using a buy board contract, which is a state cooperative purchasing agreement.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How long will it take for them to start?
It is 14 to 16 weeks to install. There's a long lead time on generators right now because they're in big demand. Because of the ice storm and because of Hurricane Hannah, there's a big push right now on the commercial and residential side that we found out to install emergency generators or backup power.
I just ordered for my facility.
I'm sorry, Director.
And I actually did the same for all my facilities. The problem is the lead time. It takes 4 months to get it.
Yes, sir. In this particular case, Waukesha Pierce, the vendor has told us it'll be a 14 to 16 week lead time for delivery. Staff recommends approval.
Can I get a motion for approval of resolution 2021-30, the purchase of the emergency power contract?
So moved.
Motion from Zeke. Can I get a second? Second.
Second,
I got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2021-31, approval of Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority Quality Assurance Program.
Chairman, Directors, as part of our program management, TxDOT requires us to have a quality assurance program. And so essentially back in 2015, the board adopted TxDOT's quality assurance program. We took the approach, why reinvent the wheel? They have a program that's established and that they will accept it because it's their own. Since then, they've had an update to the quality assurance program. So we're just asking the board to adopt the updates to this. And this is really for the materials and workmanship during construction. And so the quality assurance program outlines how you test the materials, the frequencies, and what the acceptable tolerances. And so this is the program that we're asking to update. And so staff recommends approval.
Any questions? If not, I'll take a motion by Paul. Can I get a second? Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You go to table items.
Yes, sir. We
number 5.
recommend a motion to remove item 5A from the table for consideration by the board.
A motion for approval to remove. Is that correct?
You want to take, you want a motion to remove?
Yeah, remove it from
table?
the table so we can consider it. Yeah.
So move.
Have a motion, can I get a second? Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. So let's go ahead and discuss resolution 2021-23.
Yes, Chairman, Directors, this is approval of work authorization number 6 to the professional service agreement with LNG Engineering for redesign of the Hidalgo County to really a bridge over Hidalgo County Irrigation District number 2 main canal. If you'll recall, the last board meeting, the board tabled this item and asked several board members to visit with the board of directors of Irrigation District number 2. It was myself, Vice Chairman Reynolds, and Director Moxley visited with the board of directors and asked them to reconsider the requirement of a bridge that with a higher vertical clearance and a longer horizontal span over their main canal. We had that meeting approximately 2 weeks ago with the board of directors. They asked us to, we asked them to reconsider. We had presented them with 4 design options, and we asked them to consider an option that was we felt was a little more economical because less cost to the authority, to the tune of approximately $600,000 in construction cost, and then minus $400,000 in redesign fees. The board had previously voted. The board of directors for the irrigation district had previously voted on the option that required us to raise the bridge and lengthen the bridge, which prompted us to come back with which it requires a total redesign of the facility. The board replied to our request that they reconsider and notified us that their original vote stood, requiring the taller bridge and longer span as they originally voted on earlier this year. So we're coming back to the board of directors with the recommendation that we proceed with the redesign so that we do not delay the project. Again, we're going to go out to bids in approximately a week. We have 60 days built into the bid to advertise it and for the potential contractors to return their bids to us. So our plan is to have this design changed, or this redesign, this facility redesigned, and issue it as an addendum to the bid plans so that we receive a bid with the project as a whole so that we can take advantage of the economies of scale. What we do not want to do is issue this as a change order after the project has been awarded, because we think that at that time the contractors will probably try to take advantage of us and inflate prices. Yeah, and inflate prices in a change order scenario. So we wanted it considered as part of the total bid package. In that request is a design fee that is approximately 13% of the estimated construction cost of the entire facility. And the reason for that higher design fee is that we have the engineer on an accelerated time schedule. Basically, they have 58 days to totally redesign this because it is a total redesign, to be able to issue it as an addendum to the bid so that we receive it as part of the total bid package. So at this point, staff is recommending approval that we proceed with the redesign.
What is the total cost?
The total cost for the improvement that we're recommending is $3.3 million.
That's just for the bridge?
Yes, that's the construction cost.
Let me ask you, how come we went through all this process and we bid it and they said yes, and then all of a sudden they changed it? What was the problem there?
So what changed since the 2016 bid, which is we had it as a low chord bridge. Basically, it was right on top of the bank, and we were concrete lining the canal from bank to bank and including the bottom. What changed then is they received a study that said that concrete riprap that's placed over earthen canals, clay-lined canals, the clay will dry up underneath it, it'll shrink, and the concrete cracks, and then they end up with leaks. That's the reason they gave us, that's the reason that the board gave us. So they have a concern that if that happens, they are not going to be able to get their equipment because the bridge will be sitting basically on the bank of the canal. They will not be able to get their equipment underneath the bridge to repair cracked concrete or even a blowout in the earthen embankment. And so that's their primary concern, is access for maintenance and repair.
Had they approved that original design?
Yes. But that was back in.
Do they have the right legal do we have not enforcement right to enforce whatever they had agreed on beforehand? But that's what we did already.
Yes, that's correct.
That's what
I
y'all,
don't
that's what y'all did.
understand why all of a sudden they got a study. I'm sure they built a bunch of bridges all over the place in the same soil conditions. Why did it happen all of a sudden?
Well, that's really was part of their argument. They said, we have a lot of they argued that they've been in business for 100 years, 100 plus years, and they have similar facilities to what we were originally proposing. And they're saying that now they're maintenance issues. Fast forward to
100
today's.
years won't be around till.
Yes, sir. But that's their argument, is the perpetual maintenance. And that's a concern for us, not on the irrigation side, but on the roadway side. We want to design facilities with the least amount of maintenance. Also, we want our design is for a 50-year life.
When you hire an engineer, isn't he supposed to look at the soil conditions that come up, plans match the soil conditions?
Yes, sir.
So what happened there?
Well, like I said, when we originally bid this, it was,
I'm talking about the engineers. When you get a job, first thing you do is get a soil test and find out what.
yes,
and
sir.
So you design the bridge or the design for the conditions.
That's correct.
What happened there?
They did design for the conditions.
Well, you're
And
telling me now that it didn't because it's got clay and they got to do it more because of the clay.
well, no,
If
what,
somebody's failed.
no, what I told you is that the district received a report that said,
No. Typically, if I'm going to do a building, I want to get soil testing before I design my
yes,
structure, right? So question is, did they do that?
yes, they did. They did a
Okay, so- and
geotechnical.
then
We had
based on that, they did the design as it is now.
that is correct.
So who's wrong?
So that's subject to debate.
Well, then
I,
the lawyer,
we,
let's find out who the engineer was and they got
we,
liability.
we think I'm a professional engineer, and I think that the design is as originally proposed is acceptable. I don't think that they're going to have the maintenance issues.
Okay, well,
But-
then I think the engineers that did it need to go back and talk to the water district and say, irrigation district and say, it's adequate. 'Cause it
So-
doesn't make any sense to me.
So we did do that. So I did go to the board of directors with
No, I know
Director
you did,
Director
but it seems like
Maxim.
at the last minute, they changed their minds. We got to pay $1.3 million extra. Because somebody failed. So can you tell me exactly who do you think failed? Your opinion?
In my opinion, I don't think the design is a failure. The original design is a
So-
failure. I just
So
think
they're asking for something they shouldn't be asking.
I think that's the point,
that-
right?
yes,
I think they know that there's an urgency here
yes,
and they just want us to build their bridge.
yes, sir.
That's what it is,
They
right? It's not that we didn't do it correctly
That's
initially.
why we had plenty of time to do this. Why isn't brought us before?
That's
So the issue is that we've negotiated all the right of way that we need, and this and dozens of other locations across the project. And the irrigation district will not sign the deeds over to us. We've negotiated the price for the acquisition, and they will not execute the deeds for the right of way. Yeah.
We've been working this a long time.
Yes, sir.
Why all of a sudden, because of an issue, it's going to cost $1.3 million, even though we had engineer plans and design for the conditions. And now they want to change it.
Yes,
and
sir.
We have to pay for it.
Yes, sir. And that's what they've done. They've changed their mind and said that
No, I
design was.
understand that,
yeah.
But somebody, we shouldn't be paying for it. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, sir. So we're crossing their facility, and we need to be able to cross their facility.
Okay,
And
then do we have recourse against the engineer who designed originally?
I-
He ordered a soil test, designed it wrong based on the new study.
so Director, I don't think it's an issue of a designer. I think it's a preference that because
So
of
our preference, we're gonna pay $1.3 million.
yes, sir, because of the district prefers to maintain their facility in a certain way, that they've changed their mind on how they want to.
Disagree.
Yes, sir.
What you're saying is that option 1, 2, 3, and 4 are viable.
Yes, they're all viable options.
It's just that they basically know their situation and
Yeah.
they leverage their position for us to construct a better bridge for them.
Right.
That's what they
an
did.
opinion Too,
Yeah.
because he says that the other engineers, said it was the right design.
So let me walk you through the options.
Okay.
Option 1 was if you look in your packet, there's a table that says option 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yes.
So option 1 was a low chord bridge. That's basically the bottom beam of the bridge is sitting on top of the bank of the canal on both sides and spanning the canal. No riprap.
That's what was designed, right?
That's what was designed.
And
right.
that's okay.
And that's okay.
They just changed their mind. Go to 2?
Yeah, 2 is the same bridge. It's still sitting on. It's still sitting on both banks, but now we added concrete riprap for the entire width of our right of way, where our footprint, where we're crossing our right of way. So we've concrete lined the sides, the bottom, completely concrete lined it underneath. That was option 2. Option 3 was putting that canal, so let me back up a little bit. That canal is 150 feet in width. It's a huge canal. It's very, very wide. And it's only about 5 feet deep, but it's a huge canal. It's very wide, and it provides a water supply for the city of McAllen, for the city of Edinburgh, for the city of FAR, for the city of San Juan, and for the city of Alamo. So it's a major infrastructure facility because it provides critical infrastructure. So option 3 was to take that canal and put it in a box structure. That box structure needed to be 15 feet wide. It needed to be 9 feet tall, and it needed to be all cast in place. We couldn't use precast boxes because it needed to be watertight. That's a viable option. And
that one's even more expensive?
Yes, more. That's the most expensive option.
Yeah, but we did that at the Blue Line on 2nd Street.
Yes, sir.
But I guess what I'm questioning is, the plans were designed according to you correctly,
Yes, sir.
right? And they would work,
Yes, sir.
or they wouldn't have done them.
Right.
Right? So they want something else. Why are we paying?
Because
Because they got the power.
because we need the right of way, and we need to cross their facility, and we need their permission. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we never were able to get any documents executed for us to have.
That's correct.
I was told by the water district that RMA took too long, and we kept sending emails and we never responded.
No, sir. So you look at the next page, you can look at the chronology where we,
Give me a copy, I'll send it to them, please.
Yes, sir.
Is it in here?
I gave it to them.
Yeah.
I gave it to all.
It's in here.
Yeah,
It's on
it's in your
5A.
packet. And when Director Moxley and Vice Chairman Reynolds and I visited, we gave them that chronology of the
Page
details
3.
of going through the designs. So where we've met with them and met with them and met with them and met with them. And this is just the meetings. That doesn't include all the informal conversations that we've had. These were the formal meetings where we had minutes and we documented everything. And then there was probably dozens or more informal meetings where the engineers talked, or Eric talked to them, or Ramon talked to them. We probably met with them just dozens and dozens of times to try to work this out.
But I still don't understand how we could have proceeded without having a viable right of way. I mean, how can we proceed through all this? We're just talking about engineering, but
So
I'm talking
there's-
about the whole thing. How can we proceed without us having the right access?
So
to this?
there is a mechanism called a possession and use agreement. So we've got the right of way worked out. We've got we've got the acquisition worked out. We've got the cost worked out. So the district can give us what's called a possession and use agreement, which is kind of and I'll let Richie explain that. But basically, it allows us to proceed forward, and while we work issues out, it lets us take possession of the right of way, proceed forward, but we basically still have issues that we have to iron out, but we don't hold up the project. So at the time, they gave us a possession and use agreement and said, you can proceed, but we still have these issues we've got to work out. So at the time, we went forward so we could bid the project out. And so that's how we were able to get there. And that's, we did that with not just them, we did it with other entities. We did it with the other irrigation districts. We did it with the Irrigation District 19. We did it with the Hunts. We did it with some other entities that we had issues still to resolve and to not hold the project back.
And everybody held on to their word except Irrigation 2.
Yes, sir.
They're the ones that changed it on us.
They changed their mind after we, and the project was bid and it was canceled. And then that's basically when they changed their mind. When we went back and said, hey, we're going to go forward. And they said, we've changed our mind and this is the reason why.
So all that you call the questions. So at this point, staff recommends that we move forward because of the delay.
Yes, sir. So
we
we
really don't have a choice. We need to move on, right?
we need to
That's
move
what you're
forward.
telling us?
Yes, sir. I'm telling you that yes, $1 million is a lot of money. The staff acknowledges that
It's really
it's a lot of
their
money.
opinion, right? 'Cause you said first engineer is correct.
Yes, sir.
So it's an opinion on that, but it's gonna cost us $1.3 million.
Yes, sir.
And
It's
you
it's
offered
an
to-
estimate of probable cause. We think it's a pretty good number. But basically, we're gonna, our estimate right now is $258 million. And so we're gonna delay a $258 million project for $1 million, which is a less than 0.5% increase. I
The
understand it's
dollars
a,
is- So Counselor, question. If we proceed because they're holding us hostage, that doesn't give us the ability not to sue, right?
It does not waive any rights, unless they present an agreement such as that in order to accept their proposal, but I don't believe that that is a right.
So we proceed with this project and we can say, you've already agreed, we can proceed, pay, and then sue for
If they
breach of
contractually
contract?
agree- I would agree that they contractually agree to that number or to that option. And then we change their position. We relied on that option when we got into possession. I think we have.
I think that's a good term. We relied on their,
Yeah.
what they had already voted on. And we assumed that,
With that route because of that reliance.
Right.
But it's more than that. Based on the decision, that's how we did the plans.
Right.
Suppose the according are correct. Now they want to change them.
It's a breach, in my
It's a
opinion.
breach if we have a contraction.
And we do have a contractual agreement because we were going to proceed when we
so
let out. for the
I would
first time.
defer to council on that. I mean, I know we have a possession and use agreement. I don't know that those provisions are in there. I would defer to him.
I don't believe they are. I
So-
don't believe the option was enumerated such that this is what we're going to do. Do you agree that we're going to rip wrap or we're going to expand over on that? I'm not aware of that.
But there is a change from the original contractual agreement that we had with them.
If we have a contractual agreement, we
Yeah.
change.
So,
And it causes us not damages.
Which it has.
so what we can do, Chairman, is we can review that PUA, the possession and use agreement, to see if, and I'll defer to Richie and to Blakely to see if there's any recourse.
I mean, I hate to delay it because, we don't pay it here, we're going to pay it in interest rates if we're not cautious, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to cost us more over the long term, right? So my recommendation is, obviously to proceed as accepted, but I don't have a vote, so I'll call the vote to question.
so you're recommending that we move on it with the understanding that we talk to council on the next meeting or whenever?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so move.
Motion and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
I believe Director Spammer.
Dr. Spammer, okay, now you're for it or?
Oh, no, I agree. I agree. Let's move on. You cannot hold the whole project because of the $3 million. Agree?
Okay, so we've got all the questions, Chairman can do, all those opposed and everybody else for.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
So we've got a three for it and one opposed.
Four
Four opposed.
for.
Four for it, one opposed, I'm sorry.
Can we put this on the agenda in executive session to talk to legal?
Yes, sir. We'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to go ahead and remove resolution from table items 2021-24. Approval of contract amendment number 2, the professional service agreement with LNG Engineering to increase the maximum payable amount for work authorization number 6. Can I get a motion?
You want to remove it, you
I'm
said?
gonna move it so we can discuss it.
It was tabled.
Oh, okay, so move to remove.
Motion in second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
So this is just the instrument to increase the maximum payable amount for their contract with LNG. So their maximum payable amount increases by $22,233.55 for a revised maximum payable amount of $5,937,334.87. Staff recommends approval.
Got a motion? Can I get a motion for approval? A motion, can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Chairman, Directors, that's all the business we have for your consideration.
Okay, there's other business.
Yeah, I think Mr. Ramirez has an answer for your questions.
Yeah, well, I had my laptop, so I looked at my emails and I made a mistake. I didn't send it to Chairman Deanda, I sent it to Pilar to give to Chairman Deanda. But since 2015, we've given nearly $1 million to Valley nonprofits since 15. There was 2 signature gifts there that I want to point out. One, we gave 55,000 to Vamos, the mentorship program.
You get better looking.
Pardon?
You get better looking.
Okay. And then we also pledged $1 million to the Rio Grande, UT, Rio Grande Valley. $1 million.
What does that mean?
We've funded, I think we have in 50,000 increments, I think we have 2 payments to make. So most of it we have funded.
That was UTRGB.
Yes.
And what kind of funding, did you specify to whom or for what? Or was it just a general funding?
I don't have the details.
Not that it matters, just for
But
information purposes.
I can find out from our headquarters. Another program is the Vandy Cook Children's Cancer Clinic. We do that annually. We provide annual workshops for Hidalgo, Cameron, Willacy, Star, Brooks County staff for finance and municipal management. Mission, we provided funds to Mission, ISD, and there's several others here that are more smaller, but I just want,
To us.
pardon?
Can you mail it to us? You got our email?
Sure.
They gave us a list last time. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Just
I'm gonna
review the last-
update
the
it.
Same list.
This was done in 19. I'm gonna update it for 20, and then I'll send it.
You know that there is precinct 1 on the east side of the county too, you know?
Yes, sir.
Just to let you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, Eric?
Okay, if there's no other business, I entertain motion.
So move.
Adjourn. Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Forrest. Forrest missing.
Where's Forrest?
He's in Africa.
Really?
In Africa?
You hunting?
His kids over there. Why? Hasn't been eaten up yet. Hasn't been eaten yet. Nice.
I let him use that.
Hector, is it okay for me to disconnect?
Later. Thank you, please. Take care. Stop by my office and have a coffee with me. Thanks.